I have always maintained that the opening weeks of the season, no matter the sport, the only time we have the advantage over the odds makers, because they don't have any more clue about what's going on with the majority of these teams playing than anyone else. Most sports, it's coming out of preseason play, exhibition play. Well, you know how worthless that is. In college basketball, you have 320 plus Division 1A schools. How many of them do you think the line makers truly have a clue about? How many of those games on a nightly basis do you think have sharp lines? Well, I can tell you, opening parts of the season, few and far between. Now, in college basketball, that 2 to 3 week window is often extended because you have all these preseason tournament play games. And how do the college teams prepare for them? By playing one cupcake after another. And then suddenly they're forced into playing 3 games in 3 days against usually a cupcake and advancing through various tournaments to playing better competition. And that's another reason that you have an advantage early in the college basketball season. Not only do you have all these non-conference matchups where you can find soft spots and soft numbers, and I always have maintained that you concentrate the most where the odds makers concentrate the least, and that's where you're going to find your value, but you also have teams playing 2 or 3 consecutive nights in what some people would call a round-robin tournament, but in reality, it's a fixed field. You know if you advance, you're going to play so-and-so in the next round, or you're going to play a consolation game. But it's a fixed field, 6 teams, 8 teams. And that gives you the ability as a gambler, as a handicapper, to take a look at what happened the night before, see how those teams played, and then project how they're going to play 24 hours later. It's one of the things, to be quite honest with you, which makes baseball the easiest sport to make money on, because you have the sheer volume of games on consecutive days, and you really are able to put your finger on the pulse of a particular team. So we're going to talk about college basketball today. I'm going to give you a slew of college basketball selections, just like I gave you last night's winner on Villanova in a rout of VCU. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here, General Manager of the world's largest online sports handicapping community. And that, of course, is VegasSportsAdvisors.com. I am here every day giving you my gambling insight, my betting advice, and my free selections as well, based on 20 years as being a professional sports handicapper, and really a career that is shaped by my prior career, because I started 8 years as a sports reporter. And what I learned from covering teams, being in the locker room, on the field, around players, coaches, etc., that has really shaped my career as a professional gambler and a handicapper, because it's what I learned and what I carried with me. I'm not one of these guys that relies on all this computer analysis and mumbo jumbo, and I'm not going to cite all these ATS trends to you. No, I want to know how teams match up. It's all about personnel, and that's the difference. So with that being said, keep in mind, I'm going to give you some free selections right now. And over on VegasSportsAdvisors.com, if you haven't taken advantage of the one-day free all-access trial pass, why the hell not? You can get my best bet today, which is in college basketball, which, matter of fact, for a second straight day, I'm going to take a look at a game involving the Villanova Wildcats as they've advanced to the Legends Classics championship game at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn to take on Michigan tonight. I think that's the best bet on the board. You can get my best bet and the best bet of all 12 handicappers on the site for free. No strings attached, guys. Free means free. That's $1,000 worth of action for free. Just go over to VegasSportsAdvisors.com, click on the one-day free all-access pass, and away you go. Can't lose unless you don't take advantage of what I'm giving away for free. A couple of games here tonight. 10 p.m. Eastern Time tip-off. In the Maui Invitational, you got San Diego State, a 4.5-point favorite over Pittsburgh. Now, last night, the Aztecs, a great game. I don't know if you happened to catch it. But 92-87 in double overtime, a thriller against BYU. A Cougars team that was already 3-0 this season, scoring 95, 91, and 101 points in their first 3 games. In double overtime, BYU managed just 87, and San Diego State improves to 4-0. This is a San Diego State team, of course, coached by Steve Fisher. I think that he is one of the best college coaches out there. Does so much with not the greatest talent. I mean, it's not like San Diego State's coming from one of the Power 5 conferences. It's not like, other than the weather in San Diego, top All-American recruits, McDonald's, All-Star, All-Americans, etc., are saying, oh my gosh, let me run over to San Diego State instead of playing at Kansas, at Duke, at North Carolina. You get my drift here, right? But listen, they are 4-0. They also beat Utah at home 53-49. They're taking on a Pittsburgh team that is not Pittsburgh that we are familiar with in recent years. This is a team last night, 81-68 over Chaminade, the host team. This is not Chaminade that beat Ralph Sampson's Virginia Cavaliers back in 1981, guys, okay? This is a Division II team with very little size, and so when you look at the box score, you see Pittsburgh beat them 81-68. You only beat a Division II team by 13 points, even though you out-rebounded them 51-17. Well, you shouldn't be surprised because this is a Pittsburgh team that decided to prep for the Maui Invitational by heading over to Hawaii a little early and taking on the Hawaii Warriors and lost 74-70 on Friday night. Listen, this is a Pittsburgh team that also is a little bit tired. Sure, San Diego State played a double overtime game last night, but for Pittsburgh, this is their third game in 4 days. San Diego State, yeah, they had 4 players last night play 37-plus minutes, but they aren't playing their third game in 4 days, and I think this is a cheap price because the odds makers expect you to go ahead and grab the points with Pittsburgh because what's in the public's mind is the fact that San Diego State went double overtime last night, and oh my gosh, they're going to be exhausted. Let me ask you something, guys. How exhausted were you when you were 17 to 22 years old, right? You were able to go hang out all night, play ball the next day. I think these guys can as well. So go ahead with San Diego State. That's one of your free picks today. Another free selection, you've got Virginia Commonwealth, a team which I am already 2-0, actually 3-0, going on or against them so far this season. Gave you a free pick, as I noted earlier, with Villanova last night going over VCU. Listen, VCU got outplayed last night. I mean, this is a team that took a 6-point lead early in the second half against Villanova, and then Villanova scored the next 16 points in the game, and that was it. But you got one of the best coaches in the game. Just like Steve Fisher, another guy who's not at a Power 5 school, but a guy who is just one of the best coaches, and you know who I'm talking about, Coach Smart. I say VCU rebounds tonight as a 5-point favorite against an Oregon team that's coming off a 70-63 loss last night to Michigan that spoiled a 3-0 start. But who did they beat? Coppin State, Detroit, Mercy, Toledo. Not exactly a murderer's row. And the Ducks last night lost to a Michigan team that is a green team. They start a junior, 2 sophomores, and 2 freshmen. They've got 5 or 6 freshmen on their roster. I think Virginia Commonwealth is going to come out here tonight. And the wonderful thing about VCU had an off shooting night last night, especially from 3-point range. And when 45% of your shots are launched from the 3-point arc, well, you got to hit some of them, okay? But the consistent thing with VCU is the Rams are going to come out here and press you up and down the floor. And that's something teams aren't accustomed to. That's something that teams just aren't always prepared for. So that's why I think VCU has the puncher's chance tonight, minus the 5 points in that one. Your other complimentary play, guys, I'm going to go with Toledo, minus the points at home against Detroit Mercy. Now, these two teams not that far away from each other. I like the way Toledo, after a couple of road losses to Oregon by 10 and VCU by 9, came out and just routed Bucknell last night, 92-65. Jumped out to a 31-8 lead and never looked back. Meanwhile, the Titans are coming off a 69-55 win over Maryland Eastern Shore last night. Big deal. Maryland Eastern Shore, they lost by 40 to VCU, 37 to Villanova, and 25 to VCU. You only beat them by 14. That was a cupcake game waiting. This is going to be for Detroit, third game in 4 days. They're 4th and 6th. So I'm going to go with Toledo and lay the points in this one. So Toledo, Virginia Commonwealth, and the best play of them all, San Diego State today. Remember, guys, over at VegasSportsAdvisors.com, you can get my video report every single day, plus those of Brandon Lang, whose life was immortalized by Hollywood in the movie 2 for the Money, starring Matthew McConaughey, and Trace Adams as well. Get all our video reports for free over at VegasSportsAdvisors.com.